I'd like to start the show by addressing a segment we did last week called Traps Aren't Gay, but it would be okay if they were. As you might be able to tell from the title, we used some language that in hindsight came off as very transphobic. I'd like to apologize and make my position very clear. I, along with my co-host, respect trans people everywhere in their journeys. We believe that trans women are women and trans men are men. The segment has been removed, the timestamps have been adjusted, and we will be careful not to use uselessly hurtful language in the future. Thank you for listening. Now on with the show. Welcome back to another episode of Bold of You to Say. We are back to talk about more things that we have bold opinions on.
We go back into Star Wars, so I hope you guys enjoy that. It's a very common topic here.
We're going to start off with some political stuff, so if you're into that, listen to it. If not, there's timestamps in the description, so you can skip to whatever topic you'd like. We will be going into a little bit about the election and our opinions on that. We're going to talk about internet discourse and why it's broken. And then we're going to go into a bit about TV executives and why they're a bunch of big dum-dums.
And that's just going to turn into ramblings on Star Wars, so I hope you enjoy that.
Yep. Our social media will be linked in the description, so you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter. My TikTok will be linked, so you can follow me there if you'd like. So yeah, and with that, let's get into the show.
And remember, I love you. Not you, Alex. I love the viewers. All of them.
I feel hurt by that.
I'm sorry. My love could only go so far to the 20 people who downloaded our audio thing. I don't get computers.
So, if I may be so bold, I would like to say that democracy is dead and the Democrats killed it.
Hell of a thing to start on, okay.
Yeah, I figured we'd start on something light.
Let's get the ball rolling, I guess.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of arguments about the election coming up. Seeing a lot of the same stuff this election that we saw last election, where the Republicans are running the orange boogeyman Trump, and the Democrats are combating that in the worst possible way with just a company man. Last time it was Hillary Clinton. She lost. Now they're trying Joe Biden, and chances are if he wins, it'll be by default. And I think a lot about how we got into this situation, which I don't think enough people do. I don't think enough people think about how we got into the position where we have to choose between a literal fascist and a neoliberal corporatist who doesn't give a single flying fuck about anyone.
Yeah.
And I feel like no one's willing to blame the Democratic Party for putting us in that situation. And I think that's just a shame. How did we get to the point where asking a politician to represent you became something to be vilified about?
I mean, it's just like years upon years of all this like bullshit politics, really. It's like, with how politics have gone from like, this is what I can do for you to, this is what he's going to do to you. It's like, at some point it's going to get to the most outrageous, outlandish bullshit. And I think we're hitting that start.
Yeah.
Pretty soon it's going to be like those onion memes and shit where it's like, this politician's calling this one a pedophile. Actually, I think that did happen.
When in reality, they both are.
Yeah.
No, you mentioned it earlier when we were talking before the show. The two-party system is really... It's really what's to blame for all of this. Yeah, it's complete bullshit. In a two-party system, it's set up to fail because either party can use the other one as a scapegoat or a boogeyman to manipulate voters into supporting them.
Yeah, especially since it's like, you didn't like what he did? Don't worry, we won't do that. See, look at how bad he is. Get a new one in.
Because when you only have two parties competing in elections, then the best you're going to get is one party not being as bad as the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been going on for as long as the two-party system has been in place. right? Where you have the Democrats that, in this election and last election, they use Trump as a boogeyman to just, they're like, orange man bad, and this our guy is not orange man, and that's the best you're gonna get. But if you had a viable third party or fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh party, if you had more parties, they could compete for your vote. Because it's really hard to use that boogeyman tactic against 6 other parties, right?
At that point, though, you could just you could bring up the argument that technically the conventions, like they do when they're like figuring out who the nominee is going to be, those could count as like that with the extra parties. But even then, those don't really like get into the nitty gritty. Anyone can win them. You could have someone with like the best policies, and like all you have to do is be like, we need to get that guy out, and then they'll win. Like, look at Joe Biden. He has said like nothing about his campaign. All he said is they need to get Trump out. It's like, I'm not
that's
Trump.
What they did last election, except, we got to stop Trump from being in the White House.
Yeah, and that won. Like, that Hillary Clinton got that because like that's all they kept saying. I'm beginning to think that voters just are like, there's just no like thought process to them. It's all just based on emotional feelings. Like, I don't like this guy.
Yeah, certainly for, not speaking as a political scientist or anything, I'd say that's most Americans.
Yeah, they go by with rampant, just like emotional feelings towards these things, and that's how we get idiots in charge. Like, we had Ronald Reagan in charge, who, I'm going to say right now, there's no reason why a movie star should be president. Like, a president, in my opinion, should be someone who at least has studied, like, the laws. Or, like, it has, like,
someone that understands political theory.
Like, even a bit of a toe dip into, like actual, like, government seats of power. Like, not a businessman who with, like, 7 bankrupt companies, or a movie star who was good in, like, the 60s.
Well, a movie star could theoretically make a good president if they... Like, if you had someone that was like a political science major that just got super into theater in their senior year, right? And then they decided that they want to be an actor, but they still retain all that knowledge, then I can see that happening. But you don't really see that occurring, do you?
Alex, when you see that happening, are you imagining yourself in that position?
I mean, now that you mention it.
Yeah, no,
like... If there was someone like Ronald Reagan or Arnold Schwarzenegger, if either one of them were actors that had a political background and they just wanted to return to that, I guess. But does that happen ever?
No, it's just people voting for the person that they remember from TV and they like them on TV, so they're probably gonna be good. And that's the dumbest thing. No one ever like thinks about like the policies they're promoting and stuff. Right now, we have 2 people running for office who share almost the exact same views except for gun control and how to deal with the coronavirus. Only 2 out of, like, their, like, several fucking policies. I think there's, like, 40 of them or some shit like that. And they're all the same, except for 2 of them. And it's like...
Yeah. I mean, people, like... people don't realize how similar their views on stuff are. Like, they're both, if you want to boil it down, they're both racist, sexist, old men that just want to be in power. Now, one is an out-and-out fascist, and one is a corporatist that will basically do some of the same stuff, just in a less noticeable manner.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem, though, is that every president so far has done nothing really to change the status quo. Like,
oh yeah, Joe Biden has said, this is a direct quote, nothing will fundamentally change if he is president.
None of them will. All of the ones
and we need
that
fundamental
electing,
change.
That's the thing, but they're not going to do that, because that's just going to hurt themselves and their friends over. Like, they're going to just, like, fuck them all over and stuff. Like,
yeah, that's why I don't think rich people have a place in politics.
Oh yeah, but that's the problem though with politics and shit. That's an expensive thing to get into, so it's only ever going to be rich people with how it's set up.
Yeah.
It's
That
like
I
anyone
mean,
who
I've
wants to change it isn't going to get it, especially since the Electoral College is also run by rich people. It's like
exactly.
whoever supports them is going to get their fucking vote.
Well, I mean, the Electoral College is a whole other problem. But
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
this isn't an original idea that I had. I just heard it from somewhere, but it would be a lot better if we just had publicly funded elections where each candidate has a certain budget that they can spend on, advertising and campaigning and stuff. So they're on equal footing. It just depends on what they use it for, and to an extent, it just depends on how good their ideas are.
Oh yeah.
You can't just out money someone. At the very least, make it so you can't just get large contributions from a select few wealthy people.
Yeah. Like every president so far.
Yeah. I mean, no one talks about this, but like, remember Standing Rock, where they were trying to build a pipeline through the Native American land?
Yeah, I think they succeeded in it.
Yeah, they like sent I think it was either like the military or like heavily armed police to basically break up the protests, and it was the same shit going on there that is going on now with the protests in cities all over, where you see the police brutalizing innocent civilians simply for exercising their right to protest.
Yeah.
And before we get like hate mail or whatever, but I'm not talking about the riots. Obviously, I'm not talking about people that are burning down small businesses. I'm talking about the peaceful protests that are going on all over the country. Rightfully so, because the police just cannot get enough of shooting innocent, unarmed black people.
Yeah, it's getting bad. I don't think anything's going to really change, though. If what Standing Rock has told us is that people will just forget, and soon everything will be back to business as usual.
That was a Democrat doing it. It was Obama, and Joe Biden was his vice president. Obama made it so Joe Biden was going to be the Democratic nominee. Seems like everyone forgot. That guy called Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, all of the centrist neoliberal tubs of mayo, called them, told them to drop out of the race and get behind Joe Biden. Warren stayed in the race to split the progressive vote, and then they just combined their power to basically overthrow Bernie, screw him out of the nomination again, override the will of the people, just like last time, and Bernie took it like a bitch.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
And that was no Republican was involved in that process. But we're expected to vote with them to get rid of the bad guy, and then everything's going to be hunky-dory at that point, and nothing's going to go wrong, and everything is going to be fair again.
I've already told you this for like years that both parties are basically just the same thing. They don't want to change anything up because they're the ones that are getting all of the fucking like benefits from either one being in office.
Oh, yeah. Well,
they're all
a
just
two-party
powerful,
system.
Rich people.
A two-party system is just a one-party system with extra steps. Going back to what I was saying earlier, if we had a multi-party system, like how I think in the UK they have a wide variety of parties across the political spectrum. If you had a larger number of political parties, you wouldn't be able to use the boogeyman tactic that both the Democrats and the Republicans use. You wouldn't have one side saying like, "Oh, the other guy is a fascist." Oh, this, and then the other side being like, "Oh, they're going to take away your guns." You wouldn't be able to do that because you can't just be less bad than the other guy if there's 7 other parties, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because what are the chances that all of the other parties are going to be terrible and you just edge them out by a little bit? There's going to be real competition to actually represent your constituents.
Yeah,
at least That's
the
how it
problem.
worked
Oh,
in theory, I guess.
yeah. The problem though isn't just like it being just two parties though. At that point, it's how like for the past like many fucking years, I don't even know how many now. It's always been two parties just because they have the biggest cult following, basically. And I do mean like cult. Like these people will fucking kill their firstborn child for their nominee. Like Republican and Democrat people, like there's normal people and then you get like the extreme ones, and it seems like nowadays there's more extreme ones. And it's like these people.
Well, there's certainly extremes to the right. In the American government, there's no left-wing extreme. There's only right-wing extremist Republicans that push the Overton window to the right, and then the Democrats meet them halfway, so we get just a center-right government.
Yeah, no, I mean like extreme as in like the voters. Like these people will only ever vote this one thing. Never, it doesn't matter what.
Oh,
like
extremists, like for the party, not the ideology.
Yeah, not the ideology. Yeah, these people are like they're like groupies. So like they follow around the band and everything. They're gonna like always support them no matter what they do.
Yeah, I think there's certainly a large number of people that are like that, but I don't know. I think a lot of them, at least from what I've seen on the internet, so many of them are like that because they see no viable alternative, because there is no viable alternative at this point. I mean, sure, there's the Green Party and the Libertarian Party, but the system is rigged against those parties. They're not supposed to be able to win any major elections. They're not supposed to be able to win the presidency. Now, you can have like a Green Party like mayor, I guess, but only because, how much power do they have?
Yeah, it's a mayor. I don't even know who the fuck the mayor is of my county.
Does Benzie even have a mayor?
I think they have a council. I don't even know who the council is. They don't even make decisions. We just vote on everything. Nothing gets done because everyone's an idiot and doesn't vote for anything.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call like two propositions on the ballot every election everything.
Yeah, but everyone always votes no because they don't want to spend more money. Like, even if it like actually benefits something. This road thing has been on the ballot like fucking since I was born, and it only just got passed.
What thing?
To fix the roads.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now they've been fixing the roads, especially 31, which is the main highway that goes through my town. They just started fixing that, and it's only because now, after like how many years of waiting, people just like didn't care enough.
Yeah, well, it's like we
I
mentioned.
think Whitmer just like forced it into play. She's like, "This is what we're gonna do. We need to fix that road."
Yeah, I don't know. We mentioned this like I think 4 episodes ago or something. About how like it's hard to follow local politics because there's just no resources that are readily available. It's just a shame.
Channel 2 News. Hope you get it at the right point.
You get very little information because like when people are running for like local council, they don't have policy platforms. They just have like, I am a Democrat. I am for good things and against bad things. Or I am a Republican. I like guns and God and Christianity.
My kid was the football man.
And that's how you get town councils that are just made up of like just dumb cunts. Just all generic, I can think of to say.
Just generic nobodies that wanted to be in a position of power but didn't have the balls to actually get higher. I could be a council member. All I have to do is say I like the 12 gauge over anything else.
Yeah, but
if
I mean, you don't get
loud. It ain't a car.
Yeah, it won't get better though because no one cares about it, and no one cares about it because they don't see it getting better.
Yeah. I could become a high-ranking official in my town, and I have, like, no love for this place. Like, I would actively make decisions to make it a worse place to live in. I don't think anyone would care. I could run a policy saying I will, like, skin babies.
Yeah, just as long as you stuck with one party or the other, you'd be fine.
Yeah. I mean, shit. I could, like, tweet right now, like, a bunch of horrible stuff. Wait a year. Run for mayor. And I'll probably get it after they come out and be like, hey, he said all these horrible things. It's like, well, he said he's Democrat, though. Clearly, the Republicans invented that. Or clearly,
as long
the
as you get
Democrats
past the
invented
primary, as long as you get past the primary, if you get your party's election, you can just pander to them till the cows come home, and you'll get their support no matter what if you wear the right color tie.
Oh yeah, as long as people like think I'm like the big dick like emperor for them, like I'm gonna make all these decisions that improve their lives, which is just talk. No one ever is gonna make those decisions.
Yeah.
In fact, you just have to have a good silver tongue if you want to be a president. Because, like, how many decisions are actually done that they say they're going to put on the table? And it's usually the same thing. It's like, oh, they have to go past all these other things and stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, but don't their party, like, control most of it now? Shouldn't there be at least some decisions made?
Well, Obama could have passed single-payer healthcare if he actually wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had the Democrats had a supermajority in the House and the Senate at one point, and he could have easily passed something like Medicare for all, or at the very least, a fucking public option.
But they're not going to, because that will negatively impact their status quo.
No, it'll negatively impact their donors.
That too, yeah.
Their donors control their policy platform, and if something goes against the profits of their sponsors, then they're not going to go for it. And that's why we don't have single payer in this country.
Companies rule the country.
And then that effect trickles down to the American people because they buy into this. They buy into the two-party system. They believe either that the Democrats are good and they do good things because that's their moral compass, and the Republicans are bad, or they believe that the Republicans are good and they believe in God and guns and freedom, and the Democrats want to take away those things. They don't realize that they're both parties are motivated by money.
Yeah, it's very clearly just like our
political discourse is broken.
Yeah, like 100%, man.
I also wanted to say, I had this on the show notes too. No one on the internet understands what an opinion is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were talking about this before.
Yeah, I realized that after getting into a couple of arguments online, which I'm trying not to do anymore, but I just can't help it sometimes.
Alex is a recovering tweetaholic.
That's very true. One argument was about healthcare, and basically Joe Biden tweeted like, healthcare is a human right, and I was like, yeah, bet. Support Medicare for all then. But yeah, of course there were all kinds of fights in the comments, and I replied to one thing and I was like, hey, maybe we should have healthcare for everyone because it's like the right thing to do. Maybe people shouldn't go into medical bankruptcy. Maybe people just deserve to be kept alive. You know, maybe. And then there was a reply from someone that was like, the Constitution doesn't guarantee healthcare as a right. And besides, most people don't want the government to take over healthcare. Socialized medicine is bad and everyone thinks so. And then someone else replied with a study, a poll that was just done, that showed that most Americans, something like 75%, I think, are in favor of Medicare for all, even if it means taking away private insurance and replacing it.
Yeah.
And this person that was like, socialized medicine is bad, all that they had to respond to that was like, lol, you keep thinking that. I had another interaction, and this time it was in the Instagram comments of Uber Facts. They, if you don't know, they post a lot of like fun facts about stuff. They posted about how in Germany they have a lot of laws on the books that crack down on basically Nazi shit. If you do Nazi shit, it's bad in the eyes of the law. They have certain measures in place to kind of not
deal with that.
let people
To
do
not
Nazi
see the
shit.
Nazi.
Like, it's not like you're not supposed to, like, obviously, like, regular hate speech stuff you're not supposed to do. Like, you're also not supposed to basically, like, deny the Holocaust publicly. Like, you're not supposed to be like, well, the Jews control everything and they made up the Holocaust so they could get our sympathy. And I guess millions of people just faked having their parents killed in front of them. Millions of people just decided collectively, yeah, I'm going to starve myself and tattoo a serial number on my arm so everyone believes that I was actually in a concentration camp.
Alex, those are crisis actors.
Oh, of course. But anyway, people were arguing in the comments like, well, it's their opinion if they want to believe that the Holocaust didn't happen.
I hate that so fucking much.
That's not what an opinion is.
An opinion is your feelings towards something. A fact is something that is, like, proven and, like, in stone. Like, this is a fact. Like, this computer right here, it was yours and you gave it to me. That is a fact. This computer has Linux, which is the worst thing. That's an opinion.
Right. And an opinion is something that you feel like. You can have an opinion on pizza toppings.
Yeah. I like pineapples on pizza. It's a fact I like pineapples on pizza. It's a fact that it's my opinion that pineapple should be on pizza. Yeah.
It's an opinion that pineapple is good or bad on pizza, depending on what side of the fence you fall on.
Yeah.
Now, it's not a valid opinion to say that pineapple doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's just a lie.
That's a fact. You can be right or wrong about it. An opinion, you can't prove or disprove it. It's just something that you feel.
Yeah.
The Holocaust happening or not happening, which it did happen. That's something that has been proven, and it's not just something that you feel in your heart.
Like,
and I feel like so many people don't realize, like, just how it works having an opinion.
Yeah. Like, and there's certain things where there is no, like, fact on it yet. For example, like, whether or not there is a god or if aliens are real or stuff, because there's no, like, set in stone, like, physical evidence for either of those things. So technically, whether or not you believe in those is an opinion, but those could be made fact if certain information comes to light.
I wouldn't even consider that an opinion. Like,
well, I would.
You can have the opinion. You can have the opinion that God is good, or having a God rule the universe would be good. Whether or not there is a God or gods, it's a fact that we just don't know. We don't know if it's true or false.
Yeah, and I say that's the fact, but I'd say it's people's opinions on whether or not they believe it is real or not. Like, because they feel like, I feel this is real, or I feel this isn't real. Until it is proven fact, it is not a fact yet. It's just kind of a question up in the air. Whereas the Holocaust did happen, there's enough accounts to prove it. There's an entire country that definitely can tell you that it's real.
Yeah.
Israel.
Germany and Israel.
Yeah. No, I was mostly pointing out Israel because, like...
Yeah.
They got that country and the war that's currently being fought over it because of the Holocaust. Like, that's the whole thing that happened. There's an entire conflict that branched off because of the Holocaust. If the Holocaust didn't happen, then I guess there's no fight on the Gaza Strip. I guess the Pakistanis still live in Israel, and there's no Israelites there either. That's all just fake.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about, like, the things that people are willing to believe versus, like, the things that they're not willing to believe.
someone will believe that a president is an alien lizard shapeshifter, but they can't fathom the
Also a
idea
pedophile.
that vaccines don't cause autism. Oh yeah, a lizard pedophile, alien shapeshifter. But the idea that that a shot is good for you, that's bad for that's the fake part. Or that someone could like a member of the same sex. That's too much. That's against nature.
Or like Christians that don't believe in the moon landing. Like,
yeah, that's
we couldn't
that's
possibly ever go to the moon, but a guy walked on water.
Yeah. Or like they'll say that the Democrats are all these like subterranean lizard monster shapeshifter people. Like that's a thing I always bring up because it's the most common one. The Democrats are lizard people. That's what they always say. And the moon landing was fake. That's unbelievable. How could we land a plane on the moon?
Yeah.
But I just remember there's lizards in the planet though. They live inside the ground you stand on.
Yeah. I remember now what the context was when we were talking about it earlier. When we were talking about earlier, we were saying like people believe that like politicians are robot lizard pedophile wizards from space, but they just can't wrap their mind around the concept that Americans want healthcare.
Oh yeah. A basic human right in countries that like literally remove them every Tuesday.
Yeah. Like you were saying earlier, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia is one of the countries that has like the most like harsh and cruel justice system and some of the most like ridiculous laws regarding like human rights. And yet it still has healthcare. It has free healthcare for its people.
Yeah,
they recognize
North Korea
that as a
can
basic
do free
human right.
universal healthcare.
The country
fucking
that
Russia can do universal healthcare, but we can't. We can't afford it.
Yeah, Russia can do it. I mean,
the
that's
countries that we
point.
bomb can do universal healthcare, but we can't afford it. I guess because we're too busy bombing them.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the reason that they need healthcare, and they get universal healthcare, but we can't do it for ourselves.
Well, how else do we pay for those big bombs?
Oh, you're right.
I'm like completely convinced. I think tax money just goes straight into the military.
Well, yeah, it's a demonstrable
else.
fact. Something like 55% of the discretionary budget goes towards the military.
I don't like my tax money going into stuff I don't believe in.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish that we had a different system for declaring war. As it is right now, ever since Bush declared the so-called war on terror, the president can just start a conflict with whatever country they want, as long as they can say they're a threat to national security. They don't even it doesn't even have to be true. They just have to say it. When before you'd have to like get everyone to vote on it. I just think it should be a direct ballot initiative. The American people should decide what their tax money goes towards.
What our sons are going to go towards. You forget, the Republicans and the Democrats weren't too keen on automated offensive capabilities. They don't like the idea of drones doing the killing. They want people over there doing the killing.
Well, I don't know about that. We wouldn't have such a robust drone program if that was true.
Yeah, but like even though that drone program is constantly getting like under scrutiny for being used, and personally, I'm all for it.
It's under scrutiny by the American people. The government, the military itself is not. They don't have any problems with it. Whatever allows them to efficiently drop more bombs, they're on board with, because it gets them more money from the defense contractors who make the bombs.
Oh yeah,
it's a whole circle. It's a whole circle of corruption.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I got though is like with the drones and everything, I feel better with those than like sending kids over there to fight, basically.
Well, yeah, if you only think of it from the perspective of the American, doing it. But I mean, we're still using those drones to bomb weddings and kill.
Oh yeah.
By the government's accounts, 90% civilians.
Yeah, and that's uncalled for and completely unjustifiable. It's like, there's a way to do it, and the way they're doing it isn't the right way.
We
It's like
shouldn't
the
even
use-
be in. We shouldn't even be attacking other countries the way that we are.
Oh yeah, no, it's just it's all just for fucking resources, probably oil or whatever.
It
It's
is.
like, we'll say it's for something else, but that's just for the propaganda machine.
Well, yeah, the excuse is always we're spreading democracy, right?
We're spreading entrails is what we're doing.
Somehow bombing a Syrian wedding is spreading democracy. We can't even spread democracy in our own country.
I mean, you got a point. Maybe we just need to bomb a few of our own cities.
Yeah, then we'd get some democracy. I would just like to clarify that we are not advocating for bombing American
This
cities.
is a joke to the FBI agents listening to me right now.
Yeah, to the NSA, because I know you listen to our podcast. I would just like to say that everything that we have said up to this point is false
joke.
unless you like it. In that case, we wholeheartedly believe it. But if you have a negative reaction to anything we say, just know that we love you.
You know, and the thing.
Don't get me wrong, the second we start getting money from any of those industries, I will become an all-out shill. Bills gotta be paid, brother.
Oh, god damn it. What if we, like, secretly started funneling that money into, like, terrorist groups and, like, have this, like, vicious cycle? It's like, they're so well armed, how is this happening? I don't know, maybe if you give me some more money we could find out.
I'm pretty sure that's how it actually works.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Most of the time, the people we're attacking are people we funded ourselves.
Like most issues, it's just like in Star Wars.
Basically. This popcorn kind of looks like a hand. That's cool. I'm eating popcorn, by the way. That's why I'm not talking as much.
Oh, only the second noisiest food that you could eat during a podcast.
You want me to bring out the chips?
Oh God, please don't. So, moving on to lighter topics, Jared, you had something to say about TV.
Oh yeah, TV execs are fucking idiots. Like,
Amen.
all the shows being canceled nowadays, like, the worst time for it. Like, we're still kind of quarantined, like, it's semi-quarantine. The sane people are quarantined. And, like, all these shows are being canceled and stuff. Like, was it that policeman you were talking about?
Well, yeah, Police Squad back
That's what it
in
was.
the 80s was canceled. But, yeah, so Police Squad in 1982, I believe, they only got 6 episodes in their first season. And it got canceled after, I believe, the 4th episode aired because the TV executives just didn't think that the audience could follow along.
Yeah.
There were just too many jokes for people to understand.
It's too funny.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Police Squad, it has Leslie Nielsen in the starring role. He was in the Naked Gun trilogy, which was based on Police Squad. He was in a lot of other funny movies. Check it out. It's like $7 to get the DVD box set with Police Squad and the Naked Gun trilogy. $7 on Amazon. Go check it out. It's well worth the money.
Alex, did you get a fucking sponsorship?
No, I just love shilling for Leslie Nielsen.
But, no, like, I was gonna say, though, for
But
more,
now, speaking of that, you know what else I've been using? I've been using PIA, private internet access, a lot. And, watching movies without a VPN, it's like screwing without a condom on. Am I right, fellas?
it's adventurous and thrilling.
No, please use private internet access, or else I won't get paid.
Back to, like, more modern times, though. A show I've been watching is it's an Adult Swim cartoon called The Venture Brothers. It's a show that aims to make fun of like superhero like comic book tropes and stuff, and like Hanna-Barbera cartoons like Johnny Quest and shit like that. Like Johnny Quest even shows up in the show like as an adult who has like a horrible narcotics problem and shit like that, because like the idea of it is like, you take this kid who lives through this life, how fucked up are they gonna be at the end of it? Short answer, very fucked up. He gets better though, he goes to rehab. But no, it's a good show. It's funny. It's got some like serious moments and stuff. It's, you know, a good variety. And they canceled it. Like, it's been going on for I think 7 seasons now. 8 is they were working on season 8, but then they got canceled. Pulled the plug right out from it. And it's like, of all the times, like this is you know, quarantine times. People will be watching a lot more TV. B, Marvel is really fucking good in the box office. Same with like DC. They're getting up there now with their fucking lineup for next year. It's like, why would you cancel the show that's parodying that?
Yeah,
like,
it just seems like short-sighted decision making.
Yeah, very short-sighted. And it's like, there's still an audience to like watch it. Like there's like millions of people that watch this show. And like, a lot of the sense of humor is like, kind of like, I guess it's like Rick and Morty if it was like actually how the Rick and Morty fans describe it, where it's smart humor.
Bro, like, man turns himself into a pickle.
Yeah.
What's not to get?
Oh my god. No, but I mean like Rick and Morty fans hold the show up to such a high regard though. Like you won't get it. It's so high IQ and stuff, and like, I think there's a difference between a smart show and a show with smart humor. Like, smart humor is like jokes that an adult would get and a kid won't get. Like, they're the jokes that SpongeBob gives your parents. Like, you don't get them as a kid, but when you're smarter and older, you get them.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty has a lot of like kids show comedy in it. There's some dark comedy, but there's a lot of kids show ones. Like Pickle Rick. Like that's you know, I'm fairly certain the Wonder
Bro,
Pets
the
have done
man
that.
literally turns himself into a pickle. He turns himself into a pickle.
I wouldn't say that's a smart joke. That's just that's like a meme, and it died in the same length a meme does.
But no, Jared, like, you get it, right?
Yeah, he turns himself into a pickle.
It's the funniest shit I've ever seen.
God damn it.
But no, another show that got canceled when it really shouldn't have is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I think, Brooklyn Nine-Nine was canceled by one network, and then like the next day it was picked up by another network because fans wanted to see more of it because it was an insanely popular show.
Yeah, wasn't it canceled again?
Not that I know of. Family Guy got canceled a lot of times, but that's just because of kind of other reasons.
Futurama got canceled a lot. Like, I'm gonna stand on this hill until I die. Futurama is the greatest fucking like animated comedy. Like,
it's definitely up there. I haven't seen a lot of it, but from what I've seen, it's so good.
Oh, it's great. I fucking watched the whole series, the movies and all. They're all just fucking amazing. The characters and everything, they're all lovable and likable. Even the asshole ones, like Zap Brannigan. Like, he may just be, like, the worst human being alive, but you can't help but love him. It's a great show. Like, been canceled, like, 24 times, though. Like, they got canceled so much. Matt Groening and the other writers decided that for the final episode, they just make it a time travel paradox. So, like, it will never be canceled again. Like, it will just constantly be looping through the whole series.
And that's how you do it.
Like, it's just insane to me, though. It's like, how many times are you going to cancel this fucking show?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how you become a TV executive or like a movie studio executive, but I think one of the qualifications is you just have to be the stupidest person alive.
Oh, probably. I mean, look at the
Every
shows
time
that
you
they're...
see a movie that had a lot of studio interference, it always turns out bad. X-Men Origins Wolverine, a lot of studio interference. It turned out bad. Green Lantern, a lot of studio interference. It turned out bad. You never see a movie that was like, yeah, the director didn't really get to do what he wanted to. Studio stepped in a lot. But like, it still turned out to be a good movie. You know, it's probably better, you know, because the execs stepped in. They never make it better, but they always have to, you know, change. You know, I think if you just made this adjustment on page 3 of the script, you know, it would be a lot better. They're never correct.
Oh, yeah. No. Like, and it's because they have this idea that they know what people want to see. Like, yeah, they probably know, like, the things people like to see in the ratings and stuff, but here's the thing about a story. A story works if all of the elements that are brought up into it fit together. Throwing something into it just for the sake of trying to, like, please a crowd of people gums it up a bit. Like, it could be something so mundane, like a character that feels out of place in the universe or something. Like for example,
well, they're just marketing majors that think they know how to tell a story.
Like, okay, imagine this. Think of a cowboy show. Like it's Wild West, the cowboys everywhere, and you get a pirate that looks like Jack Sparrow, and he just shows up one day. Like, he looks like he could be in the same time, but he just feels out of place, and it kind of just, like, you see the show, and you see him walk around in it, he's like a side character, and it's like, you don't understand why he's there, and it bothers you. You watch it, and it's like, you want to focus on the story, but you keep focusing on this pirate. That's an executive decision in most movies. It's just a small decision that seems like
the
it would
pirate
make...
is the executives.
Yeah, basically. Like, they just... You'd be watching a show, and then something happens that you know was made by someone outside of, like, the writer's room, because it just feels not, like, connected with everything. It's like, what is it? Disjointed. Like the pirate thing I was explaining, because it's like, all of a sudden, there's a whole different, like, design going on here, but you're supposed to ignore that and look at all this stuff. But he's part of that stuff too sometimes. He'll come in occasionally, but he doesn't really do much. He's just kind of there for the fans. Or it'd be like, like Halo 5, for example, that's a game. It doesn't really have the same, like, I guess, example, but it's like a similar kind of thing, where it's like a studio messing with stuff, except it's like, you know, the company actually making the game. But it's just a thing that, it feels like a studio executive decision, where it's like, you have another character introduced that's better than the main character. But he's, like, just so bland and generic.
Yeah. Well, to reference Fact Fiend again, they just uploaded a video today about Sonic Boom. And basically, the people at Sega, they interfered so much with the development. Like, they told the people making it to just write out entire characters. Like, they had characters planned for certain sequences, and they were like, yeah, just scrap them. There's still dialogue in action scenes that's there that references these characters that they didn't take out. And so they're talking to people that aren't there. They also wanted to do a character that, like, invents stuff, but then Sega was like, no, Tails invents stuff. You can't have another inventor.
That's even worse studio meddling. The Legacy Edition kind of guys, where it has to be the original characters. It's like, I'm all for a show continuing with the original characters, but you have to add new things in every so often.
You gotta do something to make it fresh.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a long-running series of anything. Movies, TV, games.
Like, I really want... Like, I have dreams of making a show and, like, having it go on to have, like, spin-off series and shit. And, like, even I know, even though, like, the show's probably gonna be shit because it's my idea, you still gotta, like, have some, like, connectivity to all of it. Like, you can't just have it be, like, oh, yeah, now all of a sudden, it's a new group of people. You're gonna watch them. You're gonna love them. They have blue hair. That makes them cool now, yeah? It's like, no, you gotta like make sure it's fitting in with like the universe you've already built and stuff.
Yeah, there's certainly a balance that you have to strike between making it fresh and not making it alien.
Yeah. Like
Korra tries to do this with like featuring like, the characters from the original show, and then they do a lot of new stuff. It just happens that it's just not good.
Oh yeah. And even then it's just like, that's just how they want their story to be told. Some people will like it, some people won't. That's perfectly fine. But say, for example, if in Korra, like, they introduced a new character who was not the Avatar, but stronger than the Avatar.
You mean the Dark Avatar? Or anyone that Korra fights in the show?
Yeah. But, okay. Villains, you get more of a slide because they're supposed to be more powerful. They're supposed to be like the challenge. So it's like, you can stretch it a little bit. But if it's like a side character with like no character development, but has like all these powers, and it's like a Mary Sue, where like they just exist to be the best. Like, that's annoying. That's annoying, and
that
it's
is
like
true.
Insulting to look at.
That is true. But in Korra, she gets her ass handed to her in the Avatar state.
Yeah, and like
the Avatar state is supposed to be just Mary Sue mode. In the original show, it was difficult to access, and even when Aang could, there were other external reasons that he couldn't use it because, it would just be poor writing if he could just turn Super Saiyan whenever he wants to. In Korra, she unlocks the Avatar state. She can just go into it at will, just whenever she wants. She uses it in a lot of fights, and then she just loses anyway, because they have to weaken the Avatar state to justify her using it and, making it like a fair fight. I guess you could say.
Like, you could have it with story reasons why. Like, it could be like a toned down version or whatever, or like these people, like maybe she is more like at peace, like body, mind, and soul than Aang was, and so she can access it faster, but all these people are stronger because it's like new shit that like, is being introduced, like, because it's supposed to take place in the future. Like, it's supposed to take place in the future where there's like new technologies and shit, right? That's Korra, where it's like,
yeah, it basically takes place in like a steampunk idealized version of 1920s New York.
I see. A way they could go around with that to make it like more interesting is have like people invent new like technologies that can like, that are like better than bending, I guess. Like,
well, they do that.
Oh yeah, but like, do they actually like do something interesting with it, or is it just, oh, that exists now?
It's just steampunk 1920s New York. I wouldn't call it interesting. I would just call it closer to what we have now.
Yeah,
so like instead of like how like in Omashu and Ba Sing Se, a lot of stuff was powered by earthbending. Their mail system is powered by earthbending. Yeah, they had a earthbending powered train system. Now it's just cars and regular trains. So it kind of takes some of the magic out of it.
No, I feel like, though, that could be a good, like, story, like, elements to add to it. Like, maybe there's, maybe instead of just being gasoline or steam powered or something, there's, like, a more efficient, like, methods of transportation or something. Or, like, some, like, new element that someone discovered or some shit. Where it's, like, making all these old forms of transportation obsolete and stuff. And, like, bending is slowly becoming a thing of the past because it's, like, the rise of new technological advancements.
Well, that's basically what happened in the show.
Oh yeah, but I want to see that. Like, you could do that instead of having like, oh, this guy's like the Avatar but stronger. Like, maybe, they just are waterproof. Boom. He wins. Maybe he just has a tank that isn't, made out of aluminum foil. Like, you could like think of something like interesting to like have this like plot where it's like how like Red Dead Redemption, like the cowboy game, it's supposed to be like the whole story is like the cowboy lifestyle is like slowly being faded out, and like the whole story is basically John Marston's like stomping out the last bits of it before he himself is killed because he's the last like remnant of it. And it's supposed to be like this change from like this old Wild West to like the revolution of the industry, the industrial age and shit. Like you could do something like that except with magic.
I mean, that to a degree, that's what happens in Korra.
Yeah,
there's
but, like,
a lot of story potential. They set up a lot of stuff that seems like it's gonna be really, really good, but then the writers just kind of drop the ball on it.
You see, now that's the problem with just writing. Like they have the potential, but they want to go in different directions. But the directions they want to go are the like natural progression for what they've already built up. Like they want to do things that they think the audience would like, but it's like it's the same problem with studio interference. They think people want to see this. It's just that people want to see what the story is leading up to. And I think
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. That's why, like, all these... you first.
You can go.
I was going to say, like, to me, I feel like that's why most people don't like it when, like, there's all of a sudden something that's, like, kind of alien or foreign added to something that they're not used to. They don't like it at all. It's like, it's normal... But is it normal for the universe? Like, does it feel in place and stuff? I feel like that might be slightly agreeing with some things I don't agree with. Someone could probably use that as a vague defense of theirs. I'm going to say this right now. Gay people belong in Star Wars, and I'll fight anyone who says no.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, no. Okay, gay people do exist in other shows, and they should. So
gay people exist in real life, so why shouldn't they exist in movies?
100% yes. But what I'm going to say, though, is, like, that stereotype gay character they always have. The one where it's, like,
the token gay, like Will and Grace gay.
Yeah. Where it's, like, either, like, hyper-feminine and stuff. Or it's, like, or it's this character, because they're trying to get on, like, the progressive sides, where it's, like, they're the strongest, most independent person alive. Those characters...
I hate it when they do like frilly gay men and like strong butch lesbians and like no in between. Okay, so one show that I've been getting into, New Girl, terrible. One, terrible at writing healthy relationships. Two, terrible at writing gay people. There's a lesbian character who is also a gynecologist, and her entire personality is she is a lesbian and she is a gynecologist.
Oh, so it's a lot of
her whole personality. Jokes. Oh yeah,
so
it's like, oh, I'm so gay. I love vagina so much. Look at me, I'm a lesbian. This is how we all are.
I see. That's what I'm getting at. Those kind of characters, like, they ruin like that whole thing I was talking about, where it's like they're like the studio execs interference. Where I'm talking about like how like people want to see how the story progresses. They don't want to get like a weird distraction from it or some shit like that. Like a character that's existence is solely just to reinstate the fact that they are a like minority group or something. Like that will take people out of the show and stuff, because it's just like, what's the point of it? Like, there's a real world point of it where they're trying to have representation of something in it, but like in the long run, where is that character going to go? Where is their character going to develop? Like, how are they going to become like these other guys that people like?
Well, I think there's a difference between like bad bad writing for like gay people and other sorts of minorities in like sitcoms, and bad implementation, like bad, I guess, diversity writing in movies. Because like in New Girl and other shows like that, when they do like token gay characters, it just feels like the writers don't know what to do with it. But like with Star Wars, they get the best people in the industry, but the studio the studio is too afraid of like alienating the Chinese market and stuff like that.
Like, for example, in Star Wars, it seems like they were going to have Finn as the Jedi and stuff, but they didn't do it. And apparently there's like internal like conspiracy theory thing. Put your tinfoil hat on for this one. But apparently,
no, this is stuff that John Boyega has talked about.
Yeah, he thinks that the reason why it's not the case is because over in China they have like a problem with there being like a black main character or something like that. And I feel like we should stop pandering to that shit. Cause like Finn.
Well, the thing is, they have a lot of people and a lot of money, and the studios don't want to pass that up.
And that's the thing. Studios can go fuck themselves. I don't care. The artist is getting like just fucked over. Like, imagine Star Wars if the story was about a renegade stormtrooper who discovers he has the fucking Force powers. And it's his struggle with dealing with the fact that he has to fight his old friends and stuff. And he has to learn all this old shit that, like, is gone and absent from the universe again. Like, that would be more interesting. That would require
them writing a nuanced minority character. And all that Disney wants is a token black character to show how woke they are.
Yeah. And it's just shame, too, because there's so many things they could have done. They could have had both of them be Jedi. I wanted that. I thought that could be cool.
Yeah, that would be so awesome. But instead of the new black stormtrooper getting any kind of good writing,
character development,
character development, that all has to go towards the white lady.
And even then, she doesn't really get any character development. The three new characters, the only one who develops as a character is Poe, and that's because I think he becomes a little bit more insane after the events of Admiral Purplehail. I forget her name. What is it? Hollow or something?
Holdo, I think.
Holdo. Yeah, Holdo, that's it. The Holdo maneuver. Because, like, I feel like if I was Poe in that situation, I would probably want to join the Stormtroopers just because what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, since when do the rebellion leaders gaslight their people?
Why like her whole thing is I'm not going to tell anyone my plan, you just have to trust me on this, and everyone's like, we are dying, please tell us your plan.
Yeah, please, person that we don't know who is in charge of us now, please ensure us that we're going to live to get past this.
Yeah, and it's like, nah. Warp speed. It's like The Last Jedi, though, I will say this, it got a lot of bad reviews. It's not as bad as the critics make it out to be. However, Admiral Holdo, in hindsight,
it is the best one
character
out of the sequel trilogy.
I would say, in my opinion, the best one is probably The Force Awakens for me. Like, it goes in order of how they come out. The Force Awakens is the best one. The second one is okay, and the third one was just fan fiction. I do like the third one, though, for the meme potential.
Oh, yeah. No, The Last Jedi does do a lot of interesting stuff with the lore and the universe and everything. And Rey is nobody. I like that.
Yeah, that's a really fucking nice thing, because it like is reassurance that, it's not going to be a stupid plot twist where it turns out she's the granddaughter of the main villain from the last series.
Yeah, imagine how stupid it would be if this was just another trilogy following the same couple families in this whole galaxy.
Yeah. In the galaxy that's already had several now canon pieces of lore explaining that there's many more Force-sensitive individuals out there. They just aren't together.
Yeah.
It's a shame if there was one of them in a movie.
like Fallen Order.
The kids,
how there's
the kids in Fallen Order. They're there. They exist. Are they dead now? Where did they go?
Or even like Ahsoka. She's out there doing Force stuff, Jedi things. I think she's going to be in The Mandalorian season
Rebels.
2. Yeah, but no, we have to follow the same magic dynasty.
Ugh, I fucking hate that. Like, I like Star Wars, and I do like Luke Skywalker and all the other stuff, but the first two fucking trilogies were based on that goddamn family. I'm getting sick of them.
Yeah, I don't mind those two trilogies being based on them, because that's who they're about. That it's about, first it's about Luke's journey, and then it's a flashback to his father's journey. I get that, it's good, but we don't need more of it. We got that story.
Yeah. It's like, with fucking, like Han Solo and Chewbacca being in Force Awakens, like, with Han being, Kylo's father and all that stuff, I'm fine with that. I feel like that's cool, because it adds, like, a dynamic to it, where it's like, here are the good guys from before, and like now they have to deal with their offspring, which is evil. Having it all be around though, finding all of the heroes from before, it just kind of starts to feel a little like, oh, so this is where they all went. Cool. It's like everyone kept clapping whenever they saw a character from the other movies in the audience when I was watching it, and I don't know why. I went along with it. I just felt like I had to. I don't know why I clapped. I don't understand why we clapped. R2-D2 was dead for half the movie, and people clapped.
Yeah, I get having The Force Awakens be a nostalgia piece, but once you move past that, you gotta start doing new stuff, and that's why I respect The Last Jedi saying that Rey is just a person, just someone that is force sensitive, that has stumbled upon this incredible journey.
Yeah. Add some character development too, to a character that otherwise has had like none.
It reminds me of Spider-Man, and how for years the canon the canon lore was that Spider-Man was just a guy that got bitten by a spider, and he learns to be responsible and use it for good. But now they introduced in the comics. Yeah, they introduced in the comics that it had to be him. It was his destiny, and it couldn't have gone any other way.
Yeah. And there's like multiple Spider-Men also in the same universe, not like across the universe. Like there's Silk, there's Scarlet Spider, there's fucking whoever, what's his name? Evil Peter Parker. Kane's also there. What's his Spider-Man name? He became a Spider-Man. Did he replace Ben Reilly? I don't think he did.
He might have replaced Ben Reilly. I have no idea, actually.
I could have sworn they both worked together. Maybe he did.
I don't know a lot about the Clone Saga.
No. Like, this was after Clone Saga, when they started to like develop the clones as their own individual characters with unique thoughts and decisions, but all still Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't know much about that either.
I don't blame you. Ben Reilly fucking lived again. They had another clone. Him and Kane like teamed up for a while, but they were like fighting each other too. And it was just this ridiculous shit. It's like, why? Why, Peters? Why fight?
So yeah, we've filled our quota of talking about Star Wars and Spider-Man in the podcast.
I'm not done yet.
This is officially an episode of Bold of You to Say.
I'm not done talking about Star Wars. There's some other stuff I want to talk about.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the lesbian kiss at the end of Rise of Skywalker. I believe
there's a lesbian kiss. Where?
At the very end, and it's in the background. I didn't see it when we watched it. It was pointed out to me by someone on the internet, and in the Chinese release, they don't have that.
Oh yeah, because gay people aren't allowed in China.
That is the LGBT representation you get in Star Wars.
Yeah,
I really wanted Finn and Poe to be a gay couple, or at least allow them to be gay or bi or whatever. Poe had clear bisexual vibes.
Oh yeah, like it would have been interesting too to see like them like get together.
Yeah, and it would have been different. It would have been good. They had great chemistry. Oscar Isaac was saying like, yeah, they should be a couple.
Yeah,
but no, Disney has to get the China market.
Ah, it's just disgusting. I'm so mad. I keep thinking about like what Star Wars like Episode 9 could have been had like they went with fucking Ryan Johnson's original vision. Like,
Oh yeah.
Not with his like. Okay, hold on, let me reword that. With how Ryan Johnson set things up, how they could have been
If
different.
they had kept the same trajectory.
Yeah, because like I remember seeing fucking Star Wars. Pardon me, the Star Wars Disney Twitter account posted that. Oh, pardon me, I drank a lot of root beer before I started this. It posted saying that the thing Finn was trying to say to Rey was that he's force sensitive too.
I hate that so much.
That is so dumb. Put that in the movie. Like, I don't know. Maybe have, like, Finn, like, discover it near the end of it. And, like, I mean, not near the end of it, but, like, in the third one at some point. Like, say, like, you know how there's the part where he gets, like, shot? No, wait, no, I'm thinking of, the other one. I'm thinking of Last Jedi. Okay, well, back to Rise of Skywalker. Like, say, for example, have, like, a situation where they're fighting someone, and then, like, you know that part...
Can I just say, though, that part where Finn is like, Rey, I have to tell you something. Like, I thought, like many people, he was going to be like, Rey, I love you. I guess, you know, I'm force sensitive. That makes sense, too. I don't know. That just felt like a weird moment. Having him say anything in that moment wouldn't have worked, I think. Because,
yeah,
like,
but it never pays off. He just,
Ray,
I have to tell you something. And never speak again.
If it was Ray, I love you, that's coming from nowhere. If it's Ray, I'm force sensitive, nothing else is done with it.
Yeah. It's so stupid. That's why that whole movie is bad. You could keep Palpatine in it. You could just, I don't know, improve it a lot more. Like, maybe make Palpatine, like, a Sith apparition that visits Kylo Ren. Like how there's Jedi Force Ghosts. Like, instead of having him be, like, this, like, I'm the main villain of the story. Like, I don't know. Maybe Kylo, like, goes on his own, like, reverse Jedi journey where he goes into, like, you know, a Sith cave and stuff. And I know this is the stuff they were going to originally have in it, and that's why I'm saying it again, because that was a better script. Why didn't they go with that one?
Because it just would have made too much sense.
I fucking hate that they didn't do it. I wanted to see them grow more as characters.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't have any confidence in those characters. That's why they had to... That's why they had to make Kylo Ren a ripoff Darth Vader at first. That's why they had to bring back Palpatine. That's why they had to make Rey kind of sort of Skywalker.
Like, the only character in those movies that has character development is Kylo Ren, because he goes from being a whiny bad guy into a good guy again. And that's it.
There was so much potential.
Yeah.
There was so much potential for him.
Yeah, but nothing. You could have had the same, like, redemption thing, where it's like, you know, he's about to, like, kill Leia or some shit, and he hesitates, and he's like, oh my god, what am I doing? This is horrible. This is exactly what I did before. I'm turning into a monster, and, like, have, like, a moral, like, mental dilemma or some shit. But no, they're not gonna do it. We could have it be, like...
in Star Wars, everyone is either... really bad or really good, or they're conflicted, and the conflict is basically I'm really bad but I want to be good, or I'm really good but I feel tempted to be bad.
Yeah.
At least in the movies. I mean, I know there's like gray Jedi and stuff in the expanded universe. I like that. But in the movies there's no in between.
Oh god, the shows do so much better with character development. I mean, look at...
Oh yeah, I was watching Star Wars, the Clone Wars season 7.
Don't spoil anything. I still need to watch it.
I won't spoil anything. It's
Alex,
just it's so... The writing in that show is so much better.
You need to look up all of the episodes that lead up to and are including the Siege of Mandalore arc, which you saw the conclusion of in season 7. That's like the first part, I think, is what they did, was the Siege of Mandalore. But you have to see
that's
all
where,
of those.
That's where, spoiler alert, Darth Maul shows up, right?
Yeah, Darth Maul
I
shows
read
up
the
previously.
synopsis for it.
You need to watch them. It is amazing. You need to look up everything that includes Duchess Satine and the Death Watch, because those are like the two like main players in that kind of shit. And then you have to watch when Darth Maul takes over Mandalore, his coup de grace or whatever you call it. You gotta watch those because that's a really fucking good arc. Like that whole
Jared,
like lead up and payoff. And you also have to watch the Umbara arc where Rex and Cody's clone troopers fight on a fucking like hell world. Because that's also a really good arc. Those are like the best ones in my opinion.
Now, Jared, I'm sure you've seen this one, but for the listeners, you got to check out the arc in season 6, I believe, where Fives finds out about the inhibitor chips.
Yep, that's the conspiracy arc. That one's really fucking good because it's like it just adds like new layers to some of the shit that just makes it more like it
makes Order 66 a lot sadder.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, and it just makes you kind of feel bad for like everyone involved except for fucking Palpatine. He's such an ass.
Okay, so that arc is season 6, episode 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Like the thing that always like pissed me off too though is Fives is a character that was introduced in the first season, and you got to see throughout the seasons as he grows into into basically like a fucking big ass like clone trooper super soldier guy. And then like that's his payoff. That's the end of his arc, and it's like, what the fuck? You did him dirty. I hate that.
Yeah, I hadn't seen any of his other character development.
He's I forget, I think it's called Rookies, but he's in a all clone trooper episode featuring Captain Rex and Commander Cody, and it's him and his
in like
squad.
Season 1, right?
Very first season. That's when they introduced him and Echo and all the other members of their team. A lot of them die. At one point, it ends off with just Echo and Fives being the only two left. And the two of them become like ARC troopers, which is like the super soldier version of the generic clone trooper. I'm sorry, I keep getting those two mixed up. But yeah, no, and it's great because then like at some point fucking Echo dies, so that it's just Fives left, and he's just gotta, deal with it. It's horrible. No, he also plays a role in the Umbara arc too. He almost gets court-martialed and executed in that one. It's a fun story, Star Wars The Clone Wars.
Yeah.
More public executions than I expected for a kid's show.
It's such a good show. The writing is so amazing. Listeners, check it out. If you have Disney Plus, it's on there. If you don't, get Disney Plus. There's going to be Marvel stuff. You get to watch Mandalorian. Get to watch Mandalorian Season 2 in a couple weeks.
Watch the show Star Wars The Clone Wars. Don't watch the movie with the same name. That movie is made by the same people, but it is really bad. It introduces a lot of the characters, but you don't want to watch it.
And just know, Ahsoka gets better.
Yeah, she is introduced in the movie. Just skip over that. Just like, know that Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan, and she's assigned to him. He's still not a Jedi Master. He's just a Jedi Knight, but he has to train her. And, just don't watch the movie. It's bad. And Ahsoka looks horrible in it. Like, she is, like, the most annoying, shitty character there. But in the actual show, she becomes, like, the best fucking character ever. Like, her development from, like, this shitty, like, no-named, jokey sidekick into, like, an actual badass is awesome.
Yeah, and I believe she shows up in Star Wars Rebels, right?
Yeah, she's one of like the hidden Jedi Masters that What's-His-Face has to go find. Like, I think there's a whole arc involving him, like, speaking to both Darth Maul and Ahsoka, and it's like him, like, discovering, like, the hidden truths behind the dark side and the light side of the Force and stuff. And at one point, like, they confirm time travel's real, because the kid then saves Ahsoka from being murdered by Darth Vader.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, which, kind of good to know. There's time travel in Star Wars. Probably could have fixed a couple more things, whatever your kid's name is.
Jared, serious question. Do you think that there are people in the Star Wars universe that don't think Order 66 happened?
Yes, 100%, because, like, a lot of the things that the Empire did, when they rose to power is they just, like, they hid a lot of information and faked a lot of shit. Like, their whole plan was to try and, like, convince people that the Jedi never existed, that Order 66 was a terrorist attack and stuff like that. Some accounts say that, like, it never happened, there's no such thing as that. There was no execution of the Jedi, because what are the Jedi? They don't exist. There's nothing like that in the universe.
Well, you don't really see this in the movies, but in Clone Wars Season 7, they address, like, public opinion is kind of swaying against the Jedi. So by the time Order 66 happens, no one's gonna mind.
Especially fucking Banana Nuthead. What is it, Coyote Mundi? The Conehead guy. You love him, don't you? Mr. Yoda's senile, we have to kill him. He deserved getting team killed, that fucker. But, like, there is some downsides, though. Back to the inhibitor chip shit. There's some things that, were in the legacy lore that isn't canon anymore. That would help.
In Star Wars Battlefront 2, in the journals of the 501st.
Also a great thing. Look into it.
Oh, yeah. The clone that's, like, narrating it is like, we were just following orders. Kind of just happened. No one really said anything against it.
It's like no one could look at each other the same way again, though.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking the part, though, when they, in the movie where they killed the blue lady, Aayla Secura, they go overkill on her. And with, if you go by the Journal of the 501st storyline, they did that because they wanted to make sure she died faster, because they felt really fucking shitty for having to do that, because she basically saved them on this, like, Vietnam hell world. Like, without her, they would have all died horribly. But, with the inhibitor chip, they just straight up murder her. And they just don't stop for no reason. They just keep shooting her corpse. And it just kind of makes the stormtroopers they turn into to seem a little bit more sadistic. Instead of it being a mercy killing.
Yeah.
It's like... There's some plus sides to
they go like
the
full
chip
Manchurian
thing.
Candidate.
Yeah, like in the 501st journals, they build it up as like this whole thing where they just don't want this character that saved their lives to suffer when they have to kill her. But then with the inhibitor chip, it's just good soldiers follow orders. Fucking don't stop firing till there's no skin left.
I saw that in the comics, the Vader comics, there was a Jedi that got hunted down on one planet, and they got cornered by an Inquisitor and a bunch of stormtroopers. At that point, they were still using clones. It was pretty soon after Order 66.
Yeah.
And this Jedi was like, hey, the Inquisitors are, like, actually Jedi, right? Execute Order 66, fellas. What you gonna do? And then they, the stormtroopers just go ham on this Inquisitor, and the Jedi escapes.
Okay, I actually love that. But that's the thing, though. It's just like with the other storylines that are in the legacy canon. Like, there's so much interesting shit the clone troopers that rejected the Order did. Because, like, without the inhibitor chip, it was just like fierce loyalty to the Empire, and there's some of them that weren't completely loyal. For example, there's the commando squad that was led by a Mandalorian bounty hunter, like similar to Jango Fett, but a different guy. I forget his name. It's like Cal something. But the point is, though, this guy, though, like, these clone troopers actually, like, rescue their Jedi, and they all, like, leave and shit, and, like, all of them go and live on Mandalore and become, like, Mandalorian bounty hunters and shit like that. Because technically, this was when Jango Fett was still technically Mandalorian. Like, his race was Mandalorian. It wasn't that he was a guy that became one. So technically they were still Mandalorian, so the guy's like, you know what, fuck it. You guys can become, like, bounty hunters with me. I don't think anyone would mind. You're like my family now. They can't do that with the inhibitor chip, though. They would have just killed her and then, like, killed him. Pisses me off. It's one of my favorite story arcs.
Yeah, there's trade-offs.
Yeah. But it's always... I like what they've done, though, with a lot of the new lore. Like, in the comics. For example, Vader immediately executing Fox is such a fucking great moment. Because, like, you know who Commander Fox is, right?
Not specifically.
He's the commander with the red armor that, like, basically... Every time there's a good person that's on the wrong side of the law, he's the guy that tries to kill them all the time. Like, he hunts Ahsoka down, he hunts Fives down. He's basically like, he's on the good guys team, but he's a prick, and no one likes him. And like, it was satisfying to see Vader just immediately kill him, like the first chance he gets. He's like, you keep letting me down, Fox. Cuts his head off. It's like, hell yeah. Finally he got his comeuppance. It's like, I get we were supposed to be rooting for him, but Jesus Christ, I hate him. But yeah, no, there's a lot of things like that. Watch the show, it's great. And read the books. The Legacy and the canon versions are all great.
Oh yeah. I've said this before. The Star Wars universe is way more interesting than the movies let on.
Oh god, yeah.
Definitely read the expanded materials.
Like, even the stuff that isn't canon anymore, the Legacy stuff, like Dark Empire and shit like that, read it. It's all good. It's really fucking good shit. The movies, not so much.
Yeah, and play Battlefront 2, the original one. It's a good game still. The campaign is good.
I'm gonna say this controversial, bold of you to say topic. Play the new one too. It's not that bad. They added all the stuff in for free. Yeah, it's completely fixed. They had every single hero in for free. Every single character. You earn the cards from level ups and shit now instead of buying them. You can even get a version of it that's like, I think $40 that just comes with all of the cosmetics unlocked, so you don't even have to buy those. So it's like, you just get everything, and it's a decent shooter.
It's like you're buying a complete game.
Yeah, it is now. The only thing is, though, they have cut support for it, so there are some bugs that will still be persistent, and there's a couple of, like, it has that problem where there's not enough maps to really change it, like, to make it feel like it's this, like, grand scope. Like, there's a lot of planets you can go to, and they're all huge maps and stuff, but, like, it's only ever, like, 4 maps, really, that are picked. So you're gonna be sitting there for some time on fucking Hoth.
Yeah, I did have a bug on PC where I'm aiming with the mouse and I have 2 monitors, and when I'm in game aiming with the mouse, if I move the cursor, like if I move the mouse too far to the left, then it'll register the cursor being on the other monitor. So if I click to shoot, it'll like minimize the game window.
Oh yeah.
So I had to disable the origin overlay in game, and that solved the issue.
With this one's more of a mechanics problem with a lot of maps and a specific character type. Every faction has one aerial class. The aerial class is technically a hero character. It's just the unnamed ones. It's just a super soldier class, basically. But every class has one. And there's a glitch that can occasionally happen where you will do your jump jet, which is, I think, the middle ability, and you will fly across the map and land in a location. Sometimes your feet will get tethered to the ground there, and you will be stuck there until someone either executes you or the map is done.
It'd be like that.
I have seen videos, though, where people have been able to wiggle themselves free. However, there are cases where they've done that and have fallen through the map. So, heads up. Don't play with jump jets. And if you do so responsibly. But yeah, no, buy and play all of the Star Wars games. The Lego ones, the terrible ones, that weird Mortal Kombat one for the Wii. All of them. Just own them all. You know that one where you could dance like Han Solo? Get that one. That's required. That's lore you need.
I semi-ironically love that song. I like playing it in Beat Saber.
I'm on solo.
But I think that's a good place to close the show out. I had a topic that I wanted to talk about, but we've been going for an hour and a half now. And I'm trying to keep the episodes. I've been trying to keep the episodes a little bit shorter. We can just talk about it next episode. So yeah, this has been bold of you to say. If you like this episode, remember to share with your friends, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. If you're listening on YouTube, you can leave a comment with what you'd like us to cover next. Unless you're going to say cover our mouths. In that case, we will block and report you.
I will personally go to your house and I will shoot your dog in front of you.
Whoa, what are you, the NYPD? Haha, got him.
No, I'm the main character
sad.
of The Last of Us 2.
I haven't played that game. Please, no spoilers.
The game, for some reason... Okay, this is the last topic I want to discuss. I've done it before, and I'm going to do it again. I don't understand why people want these games that make you feel sad for killing the bad guys.
We can talk about that next week. That was a teaser for next week's episode.
No,
we'll talk all
Alex,
about zombies.
I want to tell you this real quick before we go. This game, you can shoot the guard dogs, and if you do that, an NPC will come out and be like, Betsy, what's wrong? And then they start grieving over their dead pet. What the fuck? Who the fuck makes this? Why? And that's where we will end the episode today. Thank you for watching. Bold of you to say. Everything Alex said, just do that.
Our social media will be linked in the description as well, so you can look at the stuff that we tweet. You can look at photos that we post. You know the drill.
I've just been retweeting memes on Twitter, so you'd probably get some decent jokes. Most of them are shit,
Yeah, if you want
though.
to check that out, click the link in the description, the one that's labeled Jared's Twitter.
I still need to change the name. It's misleading. I don't post art anymore. Or at all. Ever.
And you don't have to do this, but there is a link to send a donation to the show if you want to support us. You don't have to. You will get absolutely nothing out of it. But our hosting site wants me to say that it's there.
When are we get donations now?
Oh yeah, we've been able to get donations, but I mean, we're still growing our audience, so...
Pay me! I need to eat! Please!
Okay, which app do you want to use?
What the fuck was that?
Sorry.
This
what
has
are
been
you
bold
asking?
of you to say. Goodbye and good luck.
The computer is talking to me, Alex. It just started saying stuff.